All right, everybody, we're live with the Combatcast. It's the man they call Dave. It's Chevarooney, and we're going to talk about this week's upcoming fight card. But first, here's a little video. Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you, because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
All right, everybody, we're back. Episode 50. That's right. Halfway to 100. Chevy, before we get started, what do we got coming up?
All right, June 11th, we're going to be previewing UFC 275 Teixeira versus Prochaska. And then June 18th, UFC Fight Night Cater versus Emmett. That'll be an early card, a 6 p.m. Eastern card. And then July 2nd, that's International Fight Week. We're going to be previewing UFC Adesanya versus Cannonier. That's 276.
All right. So some good fights coming up. We're going to talk about this coming UFC fight night this week. As me and Chevy discussed beforehand, there's going to be a lot of names I do not know how to say.
Me either.
Yeah. I have a speech impediment, folks. Now, I'll tell you about myself. Before we get, I do want to say one more thing before we get to this too. MMA Jeopardy last week, I had a blast. Obviously, we need to get a more up-to-date program the next time we do it, but I thought we had fun with it, and it's a great idea, and maybe we'll get some guests on for future episodes. But yeah, I think that's about it, right? We just need a more up-to-date software.
Yeah, that one was a little bit dated by like 6 years or so.
Yeah. All right, let's get right to this card. Not a lot really going on that I know of in the fight world this week. We're talking about. There's a lot of people talking about potential, like Conor McGregor. There's people tweeting out there. There's people talking.
There's always people tweeting. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, there's no news. There's some PFL fights we were talking about that was made. Kayla Harrison and Julia Budd. Roy McDonald has another fight coming up in the PFL tournament. They're all July 1st, which will be for wrestling fans, Money in the Bank weekend, and for MMA fans, it'll be International Fight Week as well. Adesanya and Cannonier, as Chevy mentioned. So big weekend. But let's talk about this weekend coming up. Volkov and Rozenstruik.
Yeah, I only highlighted one prelim fight. I don't know what you looked at, but I was just looking at the main event on the prelims: Felice Herring versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Yeah,
yeah.
I did not highlight any prelim fights. So
yeah, there wasn't. It's not a super deep card. So this fight looks to be good though. Felice has lost her last 3, including a split decision to Karolina in 2018. Meanwhile, since then, Karolina has lost every fight since that, all 5 fights. After that fight, she got knocked out by Andrade. It was a bad knockout, and I think personally, maybe that she's lost a step since that knockout. It was a brutal knockout. So I think both girls might be fighting for their job at this point. So I'm rooting for Karolina. I like her. I think she's cool. Yeah,
she's a really good girl, but I think out of the two of them, she definitely seems like she's had the rougher last. I mean, a 5-fight losing streak. The only thing I would say is I feel like she's taking more time off. So that could be good or bad. If you're getting knocked out, you're getting beat up all the time. maybe taking time off isn't the worst thing,
Right.
So, last time she fought was she was submitted in August 7th last year. So when was before that was 2020 and Herrig. Looking this up right now. Her last fight was 2020. So actually, Herrick's had more time off. Believe it or not, I was surprised by that. Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Unless it goes to a draw.
Yeah. Yeah. They both just get cut if it goes to a
Yeah,
draw.
that's an exciting draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started with the fight card. We got some names here that are going to be tough, but this one's not. Alonzo Menafield, I mess it up already, is 11-3, 8 KOs, 2 subs, 1 decision. Performance of the night. His biggest win I saw was over Paul Craig. He is coming off a loss. Those 3 losses are all in the UFC against tougher competition. And this guy he's fighting is Askar Mazarov.
Sure.
That's what I got. He's 21-11. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's got 13 KOs, 6 subs, and 2 decisions. I think this might be his UFC debut.
Yeah, it is.
So I like Alonzo. I think Alonzo's explosive, and I'm not seeing anything off this guy's record that jumps off the page. It's going to say he's going to be a force. Where I feel like Alonzo is a guy we talk about who gets rushed sometimes. Like, I think there's a lot of potential with this guy, and I don't know. I think this is a fight that hopefully will build him up, and I like this guy a lot. So, I'm going to pick Alonzo. Maybe it's with my heart, but I think he'll get it done. First round knockout.
I think so. I'm a fan of Alonzo as well. I think that this fight could be very exciting. I was looking at Askar's record. He has quite a lot of fights now, but he started his career off with 3 straight losses.
Yeah.
And if you start your career off with 3 straight losses and you keep going like that, that says a lot about you. Like you have to be a real fighter, I would imagine, to keep going after that. And then to look at the other end of his record, his 2 most recent fights are finishes. I think in the first round, he finished a guy in 27 seconds and then in 33 seconds. So he's on fire right now. I think it's going to be a quick fight. First round knockout for either guy. I'm hoping it's for Alonzo. But I'm not sure. I don't know enough about Askar, so I'm going to say first round knockout for Menafield because that's what I want to happen.
Okay. Then we have a flyweight fight. Zaruka Adhasbi. That's what I'm calling him. He's interesting though. He's got 4 wins and 3 losses.
That's his whole record. That's like a Bellator record.
Right. But he's fought in Bellator and he's fought in UFC. And I think the reason why was because he had a 16-3 kickboxing record. He's 1-2 in the UFC. He lost his debut. So he lost his debut decision, and then he's coming off a victory now. The guy he's fighting is Ode,
I think is his name. Ode.
Okay. Ode. I like it. He's 10-4-1, 4 KOs, 4 subs, 2 decisions, and he's 2-2 in the UFC. So based off of the fact that this guy's only gone to decision twice, and Zaruka has half his fights have been KOs, but he's also got like a 16-3 kick, and he's a kickboxer. I'm going to guess these guys are going to bring it, and we're going to try to get another finish here. So I'm going to go with the kickboxer, Zaruka. I'll say he gets it done. I'll go with another early one. I'll go round 1.
I think Ode is going to come in and just try to wrestle him because he knows that he's going to have the edge in that area of mixed martial arts. So I think maybe we get a potentially boring fight. I hope you're right and we get some fireworks standing up, but I think we might just see a guy who's not his first love isn't wrestling. We're just going to watch him try to wrestle.
Right. Well,
So I'm going to go with a decision, boring decision for O'Day, and I hope I'm wrong.
all right. We got women's flyweight. Poliana Botella. She is 8-4, 6 KOs, 2 decisions, 2-fight win streak. And she's taken on making her UFC debut. Karine Silva.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Karine is 14-4. She's got 9 KOs and 5 subs, and she's on a 5-fight win streak coming into the UFC. That is interesting because this is the women's flyweight action, and it's not like you get a lot of finishes at that weight class. And this girl's never gone to decision. So
one time she has one decision, I believe.
She does have one.
I think so. A decision.
All right. So I have it down for 9 KOs, 5 subs. But regardless, okay, maybe once. So I see back in the comments from Cage Michael, Silva is live for submission round 1, but anything after I have Paulina by decision. Interesting. So he likes probably Paulina because of the big UFC fight experience. That makes sense. I'm gonna go with Silva though. I mean, I don't know. Someone that explosive and Patel is on a 2-fight losing streak. I don't know. I'll go with Silva with the upset. What the hell? I'll keep it going. Round 1, finish.
It's going to be an exciting fight card, huh?
I'm calling it right now. It's under the radar.
Yeah. A lot of the time those ones are bangers, but Poliana has lost 3 of her last 4, so I think she's fighting for her job, and I'm thinking that UFC jitters and overconfidence might be a key for this, going against Silva. So I'm gonna go with Poliana. I think she gets a TKO in round 3.
Okay. And Backley is saying that Silva has cardio issues because most of her fights haven't gone past round 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting. We'll see. I say she gets it done. She's a live dog in round 1. I love it. All right. Michael Trezano is next. He is fighting Lucas Almeida. I wonder if he's in relation to Thomas Almeida. Michael Trezano is 9-2. He's got 2 KOs, 2 subs, and 5 decisions. He was also the winner of the Ultimate Fighter Undefeated, Ring of Combat champion at featherweight, MMA Maverick lightweight champion. Almeida is 13-1, 8 KOs, 4 subs, and for some reason, Tapology has 1 other. So I don't know if that was a DQ or an injury or something, but nonetheless, doesn't sound like he's gone to decision. Maybe he's gone to decision once. What do you see happening here? I don't even know how to pick this one because Almeida sounds like he's a swinger, but I don't know.
Almeida had a loss on the Contender Series, right? I believe, and then he went back to Jungle Fight after that and got a win, and now he's getting a shot in the UFC. So, I watched the season of Tough with Michael Trezano. I like the guy. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's fought the tougher competition. So I'm going to go with him. I don't know that much about Lucas Almeida, but I'm going to go with Trezano. I think it's going to be a decision, though. Tough fight.
All right. Well, you know what I say?
First round finish.
First round knockout. Keep it going. We got Dan Ige versus Mosava Ilevov. I bet you back you can get this. Ige, obviously bigger fight experience UFC. He's 15-5. He's on a 2-fight losing streak though. 4 KOs, 5 subs, 6 decision. Performance of the night twice. Mosavar is 15-0, and he's 5-0 in the UFC. But here's the thing: he's got 3 KOs, 4 subs, 8 decisions. So a lot of decisions. So I'm gonna switch it up. I'm going to keep going with some of the guys we don't know. I'm going to go with Mosavar, but I'll go with a 3-round decision here.
Yeah, the UFC is not doing Dan Ige any favors. He's lost 3 of his last 4, but obviously he's fighting the top tier of the featherweight division. But I don't think they did him any favors with this fight either. This guy is not super well known. I think he has 5 fights in the UFC, and they're all wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not a big name guy or anything. I think he's just going to outpoint Dan Ige, and Dan's probably going to get beat up, and we'll all feel really bad for him at the end of this fight.
Yeah, you have more of a gloom of this card.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, we got Rozenstruik here. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Alexander Volkov. Volkov is 34-10, 22 KOs, 3 subs, 9 decisions. I believe he's a former Bellator heavyweight champion too. Rozenstruik is 12-3, 11 KOs, only 1 decision. The guy was 76-8 and 1 as a kickboxer. He's beaten guys like Andre Arlovski, Alistair Overeem, JDS. So, he's been in there with big name fighters. He's not going to be intimidated. My thing with Rozenstruik is I think he needs to knock him out. I don't think Volkov has to knock Rozenstruik out. I think Volkov is better at, he could point fight. He can keep his range. Rozenstruik needs to KO. I think Volkov probably has the better cardio of the two. That being said, I'm picturing a Black Beast-like moment here where Volkov's going to get caught at some point. Not round 1. I'm going to say a little later. I'll go round 4. KO.
Okay. All right. So this one, I find it hard to call this one because Volkov, Rozenstruik has the faster hands. He's more powerful, but his cardio, like you mentioned, is probably an issue. And Volkov only seems to lose to guys who are more athletic than him, or the Black Beast. And there's only one Black Beast. So I'm gonna go with Volkov's fight IQ getting him through this. I think you're right. He's just gonna end up outpointing him. I don't see Jairzinho getting in any sort of real trouble. I think he's just gonna get tired and then get jabbed or teep kicked to the end of the fight. So I'm gonna go with Volkov. Decision.
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. Backley, he thinks Volkov has slowed down, and he thinks Rozenstruik will counter with a big shot, landing overhand. I think that's a possibility because that is an interesting point that Volkov might have slowed down because his last fight with Aspinall was he didn't look well. I credit that a lot to Tom Aspinall, who I thought just looked outstanding, but it's something to consider going into this as well. That's true. Yeah, I was saying Rozenstruik has cardio. I guess I'm thinking of some fights that were kind of really slow with Rozenstruik, but at the end of the day,
I think Volkov will push the pace on him a little bit and purposely try to tire him out, though.
Yeah, we will see. It's an interesting matchup. What do you see for the winner of this?
Who cares? I really don't care about either one of these guys.
Oh man. Now, did you always feel that way? Because I actually used to be like, these guys had potential in my mind at one point, and now I kind of feel like they're just it's whatever.
My favorite thing about Volkov is the giant Oni mask tattoo on his back. Other than that, I couldn't care less about either one of these guys.
Winner gets the
neither one of them is ever going to be champ. So
yeah, I agree at this point. I think even though you pick Volkov, I would say Rozenstruik, just because he hasn't been around as long, would have the better chance if he could change his game up a little more. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's interesting. Rozenstruik has that win over Arlovski. I'd be interested to see what Arlovski right now, even though that last fight he had was questionable. If that fight will look any different, just because, even though he's older, he's constantly evolving.
He's got a different style,
Yeah. So, but we're talking about Arlovski. I don't see that guy. He's not going to be world champion.
He's not going to be world champion.
Yeah, he changed his career around and he's keeping himself in the UFC. But He's a guy. We'll get a little off topic here because we didn't have a lot to talk about this week. But would you see Arlovsky benefiting from going to a different promotion, like maybe a Bellator or something? Could he be a little more money in another promotion?
I assume the UFC takes pretty good care of him, based on his name value and how long he's been around. But do I think he could be champ in some other division? He's looked great, especially for his age, and he's been protecting his chin a lot better with this new fighting style. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that if he went to PFL, Bellator might be a little bit tough.
I'm not saying he would beat Ryan Bader,
right?
But he could.
He could, yeah, he could be champion in one of those other promotions. Yeah. It's not going to happen in the UFC, but
no.
That would be, wouldn't that be some shit?
It would be. That's what I'm saying. It's a good side. Randy, I'd love to go to International Fights Week sometime. It won't be this year, but maybe someday.
Yeah.
Just really out on assignment.
And we can monetize this podcast. Maybe we can get there.
Yeah. Anyone got any ideas? Back there, I know you got a podcast. You got any monetizing ideas?
Yeah.
Send them my way. Send me a twinkle down or something. Even if you're doing all right, just send me a crumb. But yeah, that's it. Randy asked us if we heard about Masvidal and Conor, or do you think we'll get that matchup? I guess we'll touch on that. Do you think that's the matchup we get with Conor?
I think that's the matchup we should get because I don't think Conor deserves a title shot or anything.
No. There's other matchups we could do.
Yeah.
But right. I don't think he's a title shot. Like, go ahead.
Right. I think if he wants to come back and make the most money possible, that's the fight to make. It's a winnable fight for him. Huge money fight for Masvidal, who's got to be milking as much as he can out of this because, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't deserve to be at the top tier, but of welterweight. So why not fight for the money fight? So
Nate Diaz could be the most money, but Nate Diaz only has that one fight left on his contract. He says he wants out. For that reason and the fact it's a winnable fight for Nate, I'm thinking we don't get Nate Conor 3 at this point.
I wish they would just give him Dustin or something. I'm so sick of hearing about Nate Diaz. I'm sick of reading his shit on Twitter. Like, the UFC, what are you doing to this guy? Just give him a fight and let him be on his way. Like,
right. Yeah, I don't get it either. Yeah, give him something. Give him a guy that it's going to probably beat him up, unless. That's
like that Hamzat thing. If you really wanted to punish him or whatever, you would have made that Hamzat fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think. And other fights, I guess, for Conor, I think would be Tony Ferguson is always out there. They're both
Chandler,
freaks, and they'd be exciting fight stylistically. Chandler, of course, I'm sure would take that fight. But Charles Oliveira would take that fight, but I don't think that's
right. Everyone would take the fight. Yeah.
But I think a good fight based off of name value and the records, I think the two that make the most sense to me would be Ferguson or Masvidal. You can do Masvidal because he's got two named attractions, or you can do it Ferguson because you have two named attractions who are, as far as we know, both want to be lightweight champion.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jorge needs to pay all these legal bills that Colby's hooking him up with. So I think he needs that Conor fight.
Yeah. I'm sure he would love that because it's a winnable fight for him as well, too, obviously. And then you got Jorge's basically made a name off himself off of beating up named lightweights at this point, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And getting into fight in backstage areas. So.
Right, yeah.
But
true.
All right.
I did see also a little back and forth where he was going to give Wonder Boy another shot. He wanted to get that fight back. The nicest motherfucker versus the baddest motherfucker. So
I don't know where Wonder Boy is at right now at this point in his career. So it could be, but I would favor Wonder Boy.
Right. Yeah. I would too. And it'd be a good payday for Wonder Boy. So
yeah. That would be nice if they were like an NMF title. That'd be good.
Yeah, that would be
good.
good.
All right, why don't we tell people what they got coming up one more time?
All right, June 11th, we're going to be previewing UFC 275 Teixeira versus Prochaska, your new light heavyweight champion, Yuri. June 18th, UFC Fight Night Cater versus Emmett. That'll be an early card. This card also is an early card. This Volkov versus Rozenstruik card. I believe it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we always love those here on the East Coast. Thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
And then July 2nd, it's going to be UFC 276 Adesanya versus Cannonier. That's International Fight Week.
All right. There we got it. Some big fights coming up. Guys, we'll have more to talk about next week. For that, now we're out. Just a Combatcast, and we'll see you at the fights.